We're joined by Algonquin College TV broadcasting teacher and coordinator, Jeremy Atherton. Thanks for being here, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
As a former student of the program, what made you choose Algonquin?
Well, I chose Algonquin for a bunch of different reasons. One, I was comfortable in Ottawa. I wasn't from Ottawa originally, but I'd lived for a couple of years in Ottawa, and I really liked the city. I applied to Ottawa and a couple schools in Toronto as well too, like Humber. And but once I got accepted to Algonquin, it was my first choice.
Okay. How has the program changed since then? Or could be classes that were taken back then,
Right.
or compared to now?
Yeah, the program in lots of ways is similar and foundational. We teach hard work, we teach storytelling, and that was the same back when I was here. The big thing that's changed is technology. The quality of the cameras that are available now, the editing. When we started editing, we had just got into nonlinear editing. So in our first year, we had edit from tape. So we had from tape to tape, and we'd dial them up, and we'd go. And then in second year, you were allowed to move into using an Avid, a nonlinear editing system. And just to put it in perspective, there was 4 edit suites, and each edit suite had 9 gigs of space on it. And one of those drives, just for 9 gigs, was something like over $1,000 for that amount of digital space, which is, the smallest USB stick has way more than that now. So it's the technology is really what's done leapfrogs.
Okay. After you graduated, where'd you go from there?
Well, I graduated. I came into the program thinking that I wanted to do on-camera work, and I did a lot of it. But what I really fell in love was working behind the camera and being a director, and particularly the EFP side of things. So when I graduated, I wanted to be a director. And the reality is, you don't walk out of school and become a director. You need to work your way into that. Even though you're a great director in school, you come out, you still need to prove yourself. So I applied to lots of different places. I started working on my own, so in a freelance kind of way, and I met a gentleman called Al White, and he looked at my demo reel and told me it was terrible and he wasn't going to hire me, but he saw some potential there. And so I kept in touch with him, and about 6 months after graduation, he called me back in. We sat down, we talked for a long time. And I mean, the guy had already told me he wasn't going to hire me, so I didn't have any big expectations. And at the end of the meeting, he offered me a full-time job as a junior producer with that company, Core Videocom. And I worked for 6 or 7 years and eventually became the creative director of that company. So I worked my way up and reached my goals of being a director.
And in terms of filmmaking, like what specific documentary or what specific type of filming were you doing at that time?
Well, being in Ottawa, we did a lot of commercial work and industrial work. So that's with a client who needed a product, and we'd go create it for them. And that brings you into lots of different worlds, and it's a really rewarding career, and because you meet and learn so many different things. And then as I went on, I got into doing natural history filmmaking. So that's the planet Earth type stuff. And for me, that's just when the light bulb went off completely. I already loved being in nature and doing that type of stuff, and then to match it with a career was great. And I think my work got better because I was so involved and so invested into the content.
Have you gotten to travel anywhere interesting for work-related things?
Yeah, I've gotten to travel to places in Canada that lots of people don't get to see. And it's been, sometimes I have to kind of remind myself that it's actually a job, because I can't believe that I'm standing on Canada's highest mountain, or on a glacier up in the Yukon, or any number of different historic sites that I've been able to travel around to. So from a Canada point of view, I've seen just about everything, and so lucky. I haven't done a lot of international travel. I've shot a bit in the United States, but not beyond that.
That's great. One last question. What's the best advice you'd have for students now in the program?
So if you're in the program right now, my best advice is don't settle. Don't settle for good enough's good enough. If it takes 5 takes, if it takes 7 takes, do it. We get judged by what's on the screen, And so many times that I see where, well, is this going to get me a B? That's good enough, and it's not good enough. The reality is you really need to have that drive, and even if you're getting Bs, but putting everything into it, it's going to come. You'll do better in life than someone who could get an A and just phoning in a B or a C. That's not the inner strength and grit that you need to be successful in the school or in life.
Well, thanks for taking some time out of your busy day to join us, and it was great hearing from you.
Great, thank you for asking me.